Okay, so at this stage, guys, I'm going to kind of show you like how you extrapolate data from other drawings and start to apply it to your detail, or rather your wall section. Okay, at this stage, it's just our wall section. So we don't need to do everything that's here. And I'm also going to kind of change the roofing material a little bit because I just want to show you some construction principles and how they differ from this. But this is a pretty simple structure. Basically, all they did was this right here is our roof frame, right? So that's our roof sheathing, the bottom layer. What they did here is they actually kind of framed up and then sloped with another layer of plywood in order to create the slope for the ceiling, because they don't need tapered insulation, which is a possibility, but more commonly used on commercial structures. This is an odd detail. I've actually never seen this detail before, to be honest. But that's what they did. So so what we have is our stud wall here, which we've already drawn. We've already drawn our stud wall. It already has the exterior plywood and finish, but we didn't detail the whole finish. We'll get there. But what we're going to draw is this parapet cap and the roofing material. And the roofing material wraps all the way under the parapet cap. Now, you kind of don't need to get to this level of detail in a wall section. You only really need the basics. So in a wall section, it's going to look a little different. Let's say, for instance, I have a built-up bituminous roof, right? It's like a tar and asphalt sort of roof thing. Those require like a cant strip so that the angle isn't exactly a 90-degree. But anyway, I still want to show the bump in the roof and the slope. So let me copy this over. I'm going to do a 2x4, rotate that by 90 degrees, and move that here. Actually, I'll move that here. Okay. So I'm also going to copy my plywood and put it here. And then I'm going to rotate that plywood from this point. I'll just do like 1 degree, something like that. So it gets an ever so slightly sloping look to it. Okay, so that's basically all I need to do for that. Secondarily, I'm going to draw a plywood layer that goes from here down to there. Okay, so that's where you're seeing that other plywood layer. And then I'm going to do the same thing on my exterior wall assembly all the way down from the slab, going all the way to the top. Okay, so now you can kind of see that it's starting to take shape, right? If I've got a bituminous roof, I need what's called a cant strip. It's like a little triangular piece that sits in the corner, and it allows for a softer slope up to the vertical assembly. So those kinds of things are just going to be drawn with regions. You know, it's a super simple thing that you have to do. So it might be, a cant strip is going to be like a couple inches tall, maybe like 2 to 3 inches. So I'll just do 3 inches there. I'm going to do 3 inches here and close that off. And that's usually going to be like a crosshatch sort of looking material. There, something like that. Okay, so that's a cant strip. It just gets laid down and glued into place, and then the roof gets poured over top of it. So we need to show the roofing material, but since we're in a wall section, we're in much less detail, so I don't need to show thickness or anything. I can just do that with a line. So I'm going to do a detail line. Let's do like a 6. I'm hoping that's not going to be too thick. Yeah, that works. So you kind of just draw it. It'll snap to the slope that you have here. So if you're drawing something adjacent to something else, it should snap to that slope. But you just draw it going all the way up and across the top, and then it's going to come down a little bit. That's our roofing material. You can shimmy this up and out a tad to get it to look like it's a separate layer. And then finally, you just need to draw something that represents the cap. So detail line, I'll do like a 3. And in a wall section, the cap really only needs to show that it overlaps here, it has a slope here, and it goes at least 4 inches or 6 inches or whatever it is down here. And it's going to have a little drip edge. Okay, wall sections don't need to be any more detailed than something like that. That slope is pretty extreme though. I think it probably only needs to be like that. Okay, you might show the blocking inside, but the blocking is really just going to be like a region. And I would probably just do something like this, and then just drag this piece down like that.
So we are all just faking it?
Oh yeah, yeah. This level of detail is all just drawn, just like you're working in CAD. Okay, so I got a block like that. I'll do a detail line with like a number 1.
Oh, that's interesting. I thought you give it them like it's going to be all there. So.
Okay, so that's that. And I'm not going to go through the exterior finish part right now because it's like a custom detail component, if repeating component, if you want it to look good and right. Or you could just create a little rectangle, turn it, and then array it down. But for now, I'm just going to leave that off the table. I'll probably show you repeating detail components at some point, but I think it's too much for tonight. Okay? What questions do you have? So I've shown you how to use regular detail components for your wood stud framing, the insulation, plywood, which is a linear detail component, and I've shown you how to use detail lines in wall sections, and sort of taught you a little bit about the appropriateness of detail level. If there are no more questions, that'll be it. Cool.